Well, welcome to the United Matters channel. Hope you guys are really having fun, and this is the United Matters channel. Now, Amorim is set to obviously have talks with Ruud van Nistelrooy, and their talks have been scheduled, and I think today is when Ruben Amorim is really playing his last game, managing his last game as a Sporting Lisbon manager, and he's really going to be flying to what we call he's going to be flying to Manchester, I think, tomorrow morning to obviously hold talks with Ruud van Nistelrooy and see how things are really going to be panning out. And very many people were like trying to put out stories that Ruben Amorim is really going to be coming in with his entire staff. You understand? Fabrizio Romano came up and put out a tweet like 2-3 days back and said that hasn't gone ahead to be settled. You understand? However much, United went ahead to compensate Sporting Lisbon and really went ahead to make a payment of 5 million euros. It's not outlined on whether he's really going to be coming in with his entire staff at the club of Manchester United. Why? There is Ruud van Nistelrooy, there is Rennie Hake, and there is Darren Fletcher. We have a goalkeeping coach. We have other coaches that we are left here at the club of Manchester United, meaning that Ruben Amorim had to obviously choose out on how many he's really going to come up with, and the decision is really going to be made very, very soon. Smash the like button close to 100 times, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel so as not miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Match day today, it's all about Manchester United taking on a team called Leicester City at Old Trafford. Last game of Ruud van Nistelrooy as interim for the club of Manchester United as we wait for the final verdict of Ruben Amorim. When he comes in through and really holds talks with Ruud van Nistelrooy, what is it gonna be like? So it is a Sunday, and this is the last game before we head into the international break, and we will be really delighted to obviously see Ruben Amorim doing his first press conference for the club of Manchester United very, very soon. Now, who went ahead to bring on this story? It is a man called Steve Bates. He has told us that Ruben Amorim will hold crunch talks with Ruud van Nistelrooy on Monday to thrash out the Dutchman's future. Obviously, there is no way you can come out and obviously really try to really second someone before you obviously have talks. You know, one will ask, why haven't they gone ahead obviously have these talks even before this guy comes in and drops in at the club of Manchester United? I tell you, these people have been busy. You know, when some people hear about what managing a club like Manchester United or Braga is all about, they think it's really something easy. I tell you, it's a full-time job. It's time-consuming. It's time-consuming indeed. And you might find that Ruud van Nistelrooy doesn't have free time to obviously talk to Ruben Amorim. That is it. He doesn't have time to talk to Ruben Amorim, and the only way they're really going to have some time to talk is when they play their last games today. Amorim as the last game for the manager of Sporting Lisbon, and Ruud van Nistelrooy, the last game of him being an interim at the club of Manchester United. So that is really going to be very important and integral into the stage where we are right about now, as we prepare to see to it that all really comes on as planned. So the side of Ruben Amorim is really gonna meet with that of Ruud van Nistelrooy on Monday, and I think that might see the press conference really postponed, or not even happening on Monday, or happening later. You know, United will be willing to obviously use these 2 weeks of international break to obviously milk out everything that we are supposed to milk out from this. I tell you, because they want to obviously hit the media and see to it that they are really trending, and you know what that means to the brands that really advertise with Manchester United. It's really going to be super 2 weeks of Ruben Amorim, because he's really going to be holding interviews with media houses, though he said that he's not going to be really reading the news, something I don't really believe in him. He'll be reading the news, but he has gone ahead obviously shield himself that if at all some questions are thrown at him at the beginning of his career at Manchester, he'll be like, I don't read news, I don't know what they're really talking about, you know. So he has gone ahead obviously put in defense that is really very, very good for himself as a player. That is Ruben Amorim as a manager. So he's really going to be talking to Ruud van Nistelrooy, and I think Ruud van Nistelrooy is really going to stay. He's really going to stay at the club of Manchester United. That is it. He is really going to stay at the club of Manchester United. Why am I really saying that he's really going to stay? This is what he had to say when he obviously came up. When he was asked a question about this, he said, I made a conscious decision to commit to this role as an assistant for 2 seasons and then take over from Erik ten Hag. 4 games have not changed that feeling. That is why I said from the beginning that this is what I intend to do after my interim, to continue helping the club. And he said United is the only club that he can come in through and obviously do the assistant job. That's what he said, meaning that he's here for the love of the club. And if I told him Ruud van Nistelrooy, I would obviously find myself in a situation of really trying to learn from Ruben Amorim as he learned from Erik ten Hag. Sometimes it's always good to obviously learn from these managers who are really experienced, and you learn the goods and you really have them as takeaways, and then the negatives that saw Erik ten Hag get sacked because he was there seeing everything, you don't take them. You get? So you pick out the bonds and see to it that you really train to where you want to be. So I think Ruud van Nistelrooy would love to work under Ruben Amorim, but you have to ask Ruben Amorim, would you like to obviously work under a person who really believes that he can become, or he can become your successor? That is really very important. You know, it's really very, very important. And as it stands right now, we are waiting to see what is really going to be coming out of that meeting. But I see Ruud van Nistelrooy being here. And if I told you Ruben Amorim, if you want to play what we call a concept card to the media and the hobbies of Manchester United, you obviously have to leave Ruud van Nistelrooy there, because he'll be the soft spot. You understand? He'll be the soft spot, you know, and they'll always believe that Ruud van Nistelrooy will obviously tell him what the club is all about. Though it never worked out with Erik ten Hag, it might work out with Ruben Amorim. But never say never. Ruben Amorim might come in and really say, I don't want Ruud van Nistelrooy here. I don't want Ten Hag here. I don't want the goalkeeping coach here. I don't want so and so here. Let them leave. I'm bringing in my entire team. So that's also possible. So we are waiting to know who is Ruben Amorim gonna travel with from Lisbon to Manchester come tomorrow, Monday. That is it. We are really going to be waiting to see who he is going to hit, obviously come up with, and what decision has been taken. So we are waiting to see how things really pan out in here onto the United Matters channel, but continue to subscribe, you know, and see to it that all really moves on as well. So Ruben Amorim was asked about his first press conference in English, and this is what he really had to say about that moment. He said, I'm ready. I'll have to choose my words carefully. Manchester United is still the most talked about club, but I'm not worried either. So he's like, I'm ready for the job, and I'm really going to choose my words carefully. But I've heard his English. I think he speaks better English than Erik ten Hag, you know. Ten Hag had a language really problem with him and the way he communicates to the players, and he's this kind of person who is really very, 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 very aggressive. And I think that's one of the things that Ruben Amorim really differs from Erik ten Hag. He speaks better English than Erik ten Hag, and he's really a more composed guy when it comes to really addressing the players. And sometimes, as you read it in the media, that it was really very, very, very hard for him to communicate to players. That's why Van der Gaal was there to obviously help him a little bit, because his English, you know, and choosing his words on training sessions were not really good for him, and it really affected him. So that is Ruben Amorim for you. He says he's ready for that first press conference. A date has not gone ahead to be communicated, but I know after the game of Leicester City today, the program is really going to be out. When is this guy going to be speaking to the press for the very first time? I know he has to speak to the press before he does his pre-match press conference that will see United play against Preston North End, I think on the 20th of November. So guys, Lastly, Ruud van Nistelrooy has something to say about this game and his interim job as a manager of Manchester United. He said, I think we've done very well so far. The players have responded very well. Now we have to show that on Sunday. I don't know if it will be emotional, the end of his interim. But I'm very proud to be able to do that. That is Ruud van Nistelrooy for you, coming up and obviously saying that he thinks the players have done very well today and they responded very well, and he anticipates that they are really going to continue winning this beautiful game of football. So guys, tell me your thoughts about Ruben Amorim and Nistelrooy talks scheduled on Monday. Now, tell me, let's obviously try to be prophets, let's try to be God, let's try to be witch doctors, all foretellers. What do you think is the realistic outcome of this dialogue between Ruben Amorim and Ruud van Nistelrooy? Would you want Ruud van Nistelrooy to stay at Manchester United, or would you like Ruben Amorim to come in through and obviously find himself in a position of obviously doing the needful with his entire staff that he has been working with at Sporting CP? So that's what I had for you. I'm really going to be dropping in a video, I think some 2 hours, 3 hours coming in from now, as I told you that we are going to be really doing it like we've always gone ahead to do it. The past 2-3 days haven't been okay for us, but we are here to obviously launch this comeback in style. Bye bye, see you later, my mates, and I love you. Continue to subscribe because we want to hit 20,000 subscribers onto this channel, and let's do the needful. Bye bye for now, see you later.